Hi everyone, Assalamu alaikum. My name is Rehan, and today I am going to be talking with Hasan Asim from Karachi in the Institute of IBA, Institute of Business Administration. He is wanting to do an interview for his class in English. So those of us who don't understand English, I apologize for that. But I normally do all my videos in Urdu. So this is an opportunity for my English-speaking friends to get to know me more. However, if you wish to learn more about me, you can just go to rehan.com/I, and you can learn more about me. And there's in English, there's in Urdu, in other languages that I know of. That's the only two languages I know, but I'm fluent with.
Assalamu
Ji,
alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum. Walaikum assalam. So everybody who's watching, please let us know if you can watch us now. His video was stuck in the last video also. I hope I do see him now. So if you guys can see him, that's wonderful. Yes, Hassan.
All
And the
right.
other thing you were asking was, um, like, what about the ego problem, or what about what would your friends say, or what would your friend circle say, what would your relatives say about that you're working or you're doing a work while you're a
Yeah.
student? Is that your question?
Yes.
Okay, so if you want to be an entrepreneur, to me, entrepreneur is a skill that teaches you how to fail and get back on your feet and start all over again. It's like playing any sports, swimming or tennis or squash or whatever you're playing. You need to learn how to fail. So similarly, in entrepreneurship, you need to learn to fail. And if you cannot learn to fail, then you will be stuck with the stigma. Oh, I tried and I failed, and I'm not going to start all over again. I'm going to get a job. So that
Yeah.
means you're giving up. So the sooner you start, the faster you're going to be successful. So
Wow.
if you
Amazing.
don't know how to fail and learn, and you start, then you will not be a very successful entrepreneur. You will still can be a businessman or an entrepreneur, but you will stay a mediocre entrepreneur, somebody who is scared to try new things, or somebody who's not willing to take the risk. And the biggest risk is of your reputation. So um, no, I did not feel ashamed. I think, or maybe I did. I don't remember. That I was sitting outside my house, and it was a big house, and I was selling candies outside my house, or selling flags on 14th of August outside my house. But because after I did it a few times, it was a normal thing for me to do. I did it. My brother did it. My cousins did it.
Wow.
My neighbors did it. So everybody started to do it. So it's not like uh, like for example, on Eid, you collect, the cow
All right. Yes.
skin, right? So the same way, you're outside, you're sitting outside, you're doing something different, which is
Yes.
outside your comfort zone, and it's not something bad to do as long as you're working, as long as
Okay.
whatever you're doing is halal. You
Yes.
shouldn't be ashamed of it.
All right. Thank you so much, sir. Second question of mine is that whom else did you know while you were growing up? How had started or owned a business, and how did they influence you to do it or not?
I think the biggest influencer was probably my father. He did not sat with me and sell stuff, but he encouraged me. He bought my first stock of selling the candies outside the house, and I was going with him on Saturdays, on the weekends, to his shop, and sitting around with people and watching them, and sometimes he would give us notes to count. I was also working in, we called it a shagirdi.
All right.
So I was sent when I was at young age to different shops to work at,
Yeah.
so that I could, I had to do the jharu, I had to clean the bathroom, I had to do everything
Amazing.
like anybody else. And I learned that everybody's equal, and I learned how to read faces. Um, so I encourage everyone in my family and others that they should involve at a young age and learn the skills of the life at a younger age. I was also very inspired when I was growing up with Hakim Saeed, with
Right.
also the Arfin group who started the Instaphone and Pizza Hut at that
All right.
time in Pakistan. Then there's another group called IBL. I was also very inspired by them because they were running Gillette and they were running all the other large brands in Pakistan, and they were all relatives, but I did not know them.
All right.
My philosophy has been that if multinationals can run these companies from all over the globe in our country and still
All
own
right.
40-50% of the market share, why can't we become one day a multinational? Why can't we think big enough? And um, so they were my inspiration that one day maybe I could run a business
All right.
which could run
Amazing.
on its own on its own self basically.
So, your role model was Hakim Saeed and Arfin Group, right?
Yes, I was
Okay.
very inspired by these three organizations and these three people. Hamdard, Hakim Saeed, his organization, IBL Group,
All
International
right.
Brands Limited is what it's called, and then the
All right.
Arfin Group. And then later, Sultan Arfin, the chairman of the group, became my mentor.
Oh,
And
wow.
he's still a good friend of mine, I would say. He tracks me more than my father tracks me, where I am and what am I
Oh,
doing.
amazing. So, what was your education? Was it helpful? In what specific ways it was helpful or not?
So I never went to college. I remember I enrolled in the International College in Karachi, and I was wearing the uniform and I went to the class, and there were kids just chit-chatting and hitting each other with chalk, and I left, and I never went back to any college or university in my life to study. I barely finished my matriculation from school. I was not interested in regular school studies because it was really boring. It was like maybe I remember my maths teacher. His name was Mr. Ashraf, and he was probably one of the best teachers I've had. He had a good influence on me as a character, as a human being, and the way he used to talk, the way he used to explain things, it was funny. And I didn't enjoy the rest of the classes. I barely passed the classes. I was always an average student or B plus student.
All right. Amazing. So, as you are running your couple of companies, so I would love to ask you that how important was it or a lack of it to start your company?
I don't understand the question.
I would like to ask you in particular, how important was it or a lack of it to start your company?
How important was what?
How important was it for you to start your own company?
How important was it to start my own company? Uh, I don't know. I was bored. I just wanted to do something. I probably couldn't get a job, so I started selling Commodore 64 games. That's how I started. When I was selling them pretty well already in class ninth and 10th, and then 10th, I bought a company of my own. Like another guy was selling, so actually I ended up buying a company from him at in the class 10th.
All right. How much do you consider yourself in terms of innovativeness, proactiveness, and risk taking?
I don't consider myself as a big risk taker. I think the risk has to be evaluated. I don't consider myself as very creative. I don't consider myself as what was the third one?
Proactiveness and innovativeness.
I guess I'm a little proactive on starting things because when people don't want to solve the problems, I try to solve them on my own. And I use business as a means to solve a problem so that it can be solved and stay sustainable.
All right. I would love to ask you that how did you spot the opportunity? How did it surface
Which opportunity?
that you started the DIDX and other things that were not going on in Pakistan, that you are providing a lot of services in Pakistan that were, I think, they were new for the Pakistan.
Actually, I think I have, after the year 2000, I've actually never started a business for Pakistani market.
Right.
Everything I always started was for a global market, and to me, the Pakistani market was different. I was doing that till 2000, but after that I stopped doing it. So, for example, DIDX is a global leader for in their space in the world. We invented the technology which goes around and used in Skype, in Vonage, and Magic Jack, and all those telecom companies in the planet in year 2000, and then DIDX was made in 2006. It was a need. Entrepreneurship is not about spotting an opportunity. It's about solving a problem. Whenever you solve a problem for people, that is an opportunity for you to take advantage and solve a problem for people. So, for example, if you see there's electricity problem around you, we need to come in and use the resources which we have to solve that problem, and that's what entrepreneurship to me is.
Correct.
So we had a need for telephone numbers, so we created. We wanted to buy numbers from other carriers who would not sell it to us. So we wrote a billing platform for them to allow them to sell us telephone numbers, and that's how DIDX was made. It was made by accident. It wasn't supposed to be what it is. And as we grew, it just grew on its own. I was not expecting it to become a very large company or anything.
Sir, first of all, many congratulations on your success. Could you please tell me what were your goals, what were your lifestyle needs or other personal requirements? How did you fit these together?
I don't understand the question, man.
When you started your own company, and so what was your dream? What was your goal?
Um, I have started over 150 different ventures. I wouldn't know what you're talking about unless I know specifically what you're asking.
What?
Every time I spotted a problem after, like in the last 10 years, I would just buy a domain name and start working on it. It's like writing a ghazal or a poetry
Right,
or painting a picture for me. It's not like, oh, it has to be successful. When you start a painting, it's for you. You do it because you want to do it.
right,
And that's why I did it. I didn't do it because I had a purpose. I just did it because I could. If you had time on your hand and you could want to write another poetry about your beautiful beard, you should.
right,
There's nothing wrong with it.
right.
So my lifestyle needs were met. I'm a very simple person. Most of the videos you will see me in a t-shirt. I probably
Yeah,
sleep in it sometimes.
all right.
I don't have big lifestyle needs. I have, I eat simple. I live simple life. I have two jeans I've been wearing for like 2 years.
Amazing,
It's not like I need gazillion dollars to live. I, I had a comfortable life when I was growing up. I still have it. I still live with my father. So it's not like I need 10 crore to buy a house, which probably I will need to do soon because, my children are growing up. But
right,
in general, you know, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has promised in Quran that He will provide whatever we need. We don't have to worry about it. We worry about it too much, about money, money, money all the time. It's
yes,
His job to provide us money. So I don't consider myself as a good business person. Um, I think I'm more of an entrepreneur who likes to solve problems using business, but I'm not really good at making a lot of money. Not
right,
It doesn't drive me. Money doesn't drive me at all. So every time I thought a business will do well, it failed. Time I thought the business will not do well, it made a lot of money. So I'm not really good at it.
all right, sir. I would love to ask you that. Did you find or have partners, or what kind of planning did you do, and what kind of financing did you have?
So I tell my friends that if you give me $1 million, I would not know what to do with it. But if you told me this is a business I want to start and I have no money, I will know what to do with it. So I don't know how to start business with money. I know how to start a business without money. Number one. Number two, I had partnerships twice in my life, and it was a bad experience, so I stopped doing it. So I stopped making partners in my business because I don't want other people's time or money to fail. So I started everything on my own. Um, I have taken some loans in my life and then returned them. But that was after it was growing, the business was growing. But I don't know. I don't think actually I had three partnerships. So yeah, sometimes we borrowed money from uncle or father. My friends. Once we needed a phone line, I don't know if you remember. It's probably like when you were very young. A phone line was a very difficult challenge to have.
Yeah.
So when I bought my first company in that premises, we didn't have a phone line, so we had to borrow 25,000 rupees to give to PTCL for getting a phone line in 6 months.
Oh,
And that was a big loan we had to take from my uncle, and that's why I took my friend as a partner at that time, so that he can bring that money to buy a
all right.
phone line for the office, but everything else was okay.
All right. So how much time did it take from conception to the first day of business, and how many hours a day did you spend working on it?
Oh, I wish you wouldn't just read the questions, man. Um, for me, from depends on the venture I started, right? So DIDX, for example, if you take that, it took us a year to start, but then I have started ventures in 24 hours. It depends what the product is and what the idea is. It depends on the technology involved. So the fastest I have done started a business is 18 hours. Started a perfume business. My whole team set up a website, video, branding, everything was done in 18 hours.
Oh,
That's the fastest I've ever done to set up a venture. And I've also set up a company in Estonia just for the heck of it in an hour's time. So
oh,
because they could open a company there that quickly, so I said, well, let's do it. Um, but depending on the venture, it takes from conception to to the birth. It takes time. It depends if you're having a chicken baby, or you're having a human baby or an elephant baby. It takes time depending on what the idea is or who's having the baby.
sir, thank you so much. Could you please tell me that how much capital did it take when you started your DIDX?
I don't think I had any capital to start the IDX. It was just another side project for our company. We didn't invest particular amount of dollars. I've never actually started a company with a, like formally how you are taught in schools, that you have to have a plan and you have to have capital and you have to have, you know, I don't plan. I just do it.
All right,
I'm not really a planner. I'm not a chef. I'm just like a me who makes the dish at home, just measured with hand and put the
all
stuff
right,
in the biryani
amazing,
and just cooks it.
amazing. Could you please tell me that you are running, as you told me, about 150 plus things in your life. So whatever you started in your life, is it still going, or sometime you faces the failure, or a lot of time you faces the failure?
So I'm 44 years old. I have started over 150 ventures and I've closed most of them, and I'm in the process of closing everything else. So almost nothing which I have started will remain alive after some time. Every year you spent, if you think of it as it was a failure, it was not a failure. It was your year. You learned something and you grow out of it, and today will become tomorrow, yesterday, tomorrow. So you shouldn't take that, you failed or you learn. It's there's no such thing as failure. How can you say you failed? You didn't fail on anything. You just somebody else puts a label on you that you failed because he thinks that you failed. So basically you're learning every day. It's like if you went to a class and you didn't understand something, would that be a failure? Maybe the teacher was bad, but you learned something in that day.
Right,
So you can call me a big failure because I started many, many things and failed many, 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 many times.
right,
But most people don't start anything, so they don't really fail. That's the problem which we have. We
right,
are not courageous enough to start something, and that's what stops big things to happen, because they don't start even small things. So my learning is that I am one of the most crazy people out there who would start anything. I even opted in to start an airline without any money. So how can you do that, right? I don't know how to do that. I just started it and see if it works. Um,
All right. Sir, could you please tell me that uh, do you spend the same time in your business when you started your business? Do you still
so I
do
so
you
none
still
of my
spend the
business.
same time? Do you still spend
I
the
spend
same time whenever you started the company? You used to spend your time on that time.
right when you start anything, and you'll have a baby, you'll have to spend many hours with the baby. But when the
Right.
baby is 18 years old,
Yes.
and if it's a girl, you want to find a very nice boy to get her married to. So it's impossible to spend the same time. But having said that, I don't spend almost any time on my business anymore. I'm very blessed to have very good people who work with me, who take care of most of the problems that occur in the day-to-day schedules. I try to be a teacher and mentor to them rather than somebody who's running the business.
Right.
Um, so I don't almost spend any time on that business. I'm an entrepreneur, not a businessman. The difference is I don't like to do the same thing every day. So I try to create something new, as many times as possible.
All right. So do you ever plan to retire, or would you explain, please?
I think I retired 6 years ago, so I'm already retired as far as I'm concerned.
All right. At this time, have your goals changed, or have you met them?
So I don't have any goals in terms of because goals create expectations, and if you don't meet your expectation, you create depression. So I don't have as such those goals. My long-term goal in life is to end poverty from the planet, and that is a crazy goal, and I wish to keep it. And for that purpose, I have started a foundation a few years ago, and
Right.
one of the sub body of the foundation is called the Institute of Peace, and that's
All
what
right.
I enjoy doing most. So I spend most of my day in creating peace in the world and human beings inside them and outside them. So I
Right.
spend most of my time doing that, and that's what I work mostly on.
Sir, mashallah, you are doing an amazing job, and may Allah reward you for this. I'm very thankful to you for giving me a time. Your precious time is worth has a lot of worth for me. In the last, I would love to ask you that could you please suggest me other entrepreneurs to take their interviews as well?
Sure, I'll be happy to do that, and I'll try to get you some, non-Pakistanis. I hope you don't mind, but they will be
Yeah, yeah, I want.
you since you need to do it in English, you do it theirs. One of them is just commented. His name is Leland Best. You can
All
interview
right,
him.
right,
That would be good, and then I will introduce you to two others who you can interview.
all right. Thank you so much, sir, for your precious time. I'm very grateful to you.
Thank you, brother. Take care. God bless you. Bye bye.
Allah Hafiz.